This is the miracle run that Man with the Mark and Odeon needed. Now make sure you guys smash the ever-living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out. We're going to be looking at the YCS Lille breakdown. We're going to have a crap ton of deck list for you here. So make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button. So this is the first event where we are now doing the top 8 cut. Now, they are still working on gathering the full top 64 breakdown. But from what I can tell you here for our top 8, it's about kind of what we were expecting from the top contenders here. You know, we had, yes, 3 Yummy decks in top. I mean, Yummy is supposed to be one of the strongest decks in the room. And if you're really surprised about this, I don't know why you are. We also got 3 Mitsurugi variants creeping around in the room. Let's call this what this is, all right? Mitsu's board wiping capabilities are the reason why this deck has turned into a massively scary monster for this format. Now, we also did have a Draco Tail deck creeping in here. I think that's probably one of the crazier events that we had, but we also got this Odeon deck that showed up. Now, I don't have the deck list. It's not posted. It'll show up at some point. I'll expect like 30 comments going, "Where's the deck? Why'd you post the video without..." Because there's other things to talk about here. From what I've heard, the list went 15-1 on dice rolls. Miracle, and the only loss that they had was to the dice roll, so that's incredibly interesting. But this just proves that, you know, back row are these decks that, you know, can set up and do all these crazy things right now. There's something going for them, and that's kind of a scary thought, actually. So, I don't know, but we do have a good chunk of deck list for you here. So let's pass on over so you guys can get a little bit of an idea how this meta works. Alright, so our first list here is going to be the Mitsurugi good stuff. And the first thing I see down here is, man, we're taking our level 4s, we're making the Gallon Granite, we're searching for the Packy, and we're normal summoning it after we do full combo. Yes, it is a little bit disgusting that we have a deck that is able to do this, but this is just the results of, you know, how this format really kind of works right now. You know, and you guys thought that, you know, the Rizal variant of this deck was a little bit crazy. No, man, we're able to do things like that. Now, I do see that this build was going with 2 Murakuma. I'm kind of breaking the mold here, but also we are on like more of a pure variant here. So, you know, when you kind of gut out all of the extra fat from this deck, I think it does become a little bit more normalized to want to play the double Ame here, just so you can kind of have them in rotation and, you know, keep things going. Also, hello, Wozu, actually side decking that. So, yeah, that's definitely not a bad list. Next up, we have Yummy. Now, you're going to be seeing a lot of Yummy variations to this deck. One of the first things that catches my eye here is the Nightmare Corruptor Ibli lock, which you can simply make by just sticking 2 Yummy monsters together, make the gigantic sprite, hand this on over to your opponent. Your opponent's going to look at you and they're going to go, what am I, why is this thing on my field? Yeah, that's actually kind of hilarious. I also do see we are playing the Beat Cop in here. I definitely feel like it's been a while since I've seen Beat Cop getting a chance to show up. See, we're also side decking the Black Goat last. We've also got access to the Thrust. These are all typically the standard culprits, but the fact that, you know, level 1 deck has now found a means to access the Nightmare Corruptor Ibli lock does kind of, you know, ruin a little bit of the fun of this format. Yay, locks. Ooh, we have more standard Yummy for you. Now, I do see that this list is side decking Solemn Warnings. I actually kind of like this. You know, Judgment went to 1, so, you know, everybody in the room is going to be trying to find, you know, their supplemental answers for, you know, the results here. That's just kind of going to be what was going to happen. You know, you're like, oh, I gotta find, you know, a solution to this. Yes, you do, and it does work out. I also see we're going with the Purges here and the Imprims. I mean, you are duking it out for a lot of rounds now. It's what, minimum like 12 now? So that's a big thing. Like, your deck needs to be as consistent as it can be. I do see here with, like, you know, the extra trap stuff that we're kind of pulling in here that, you know, we're kind of getting some sort of good advantage working out for, you know, that. So that does work out very, very nicely for this deck. Next up here, Draco Tail. Oh boy. You know, this is probably one of the more standard Draco Tail lists I've actually seen. Going with the 2 copies of Agrola, 2 Pan, just so you can kind of get that recursion aspect of things going. It's definitely one of the good things that this deck has going for it. Also do see, hey, yo, King of the Swamp to search for those polys. And also, you know, acting as the fusion sub-materials to turbo out the Red Eyes Dark Dragoons. Always going to be one of the stupid things that this deck can do. Now, I mean, we were kind of heading away from a variant like this for a little while. A lot of people were just saying, hey, you know, this isn't really a good solid variant. There's not really much of a need for this. I see that times have kind of changed with this, and we've kind of flexed on back this. I also see that this list is not playing the Blue Eyes monster to get that multitude of battle phases to be able to clear through and, you know, do the game ender play. That's also kind of interesting. I guess this duelist just didn't need to have access to that. Ooh, we have more Mitsurugi. So once again, I'm seeing here that if you're playing the pure variant, you are not even going to look back and you're just going to play the 2 copies of the Ami, no Murakumo. Okay, I can kind of agree with this, man. You need this to be as streamlined as you can be, because you're just going to run into issues if you choose not to, you know, play the deck on, I guess, the most optimized level that you can possibly get it. Also, once again, we're side decking that Wozu. I'm now starting to see that Wozu is just one of the most consistent pieces to this deck now. You know, being able to have this and be able to tribute over anything that the opponent has is just going to handle so many problems for you. Also do see the Great Purification. Yeah, but one of the cool things I like about this list is the fact that we have access to those dimensional fissures down here to take care of your problems stuff. So that's a good thing. Oh, we have more pure... Just kidding, it's more yummy. We do see that poor lollipop being cut down to 1. Poor card. But also, once again, somebody else out here got wind of the Nightmare Corruptor Iblylock, and we're playing in the Sprite deck. I also... Hey, we're playing double Pyre's map here. I actually kind of appreciate the fact of having Pyres built into this deck, because, you know, it does get you that big search. Pulling for, you know, a 0 attack, you know, you get to literally search for one of the best cards in your deck strategy. Also do get to see that Beat Cop kind of, you know, assisting us. Also bringing in the full Dominus line here as well. And hey, man, thrusting into triple dimensional barrier. No matter what you think kind of fun day you're having, your opponent's getting triple dimensional buried. They're having a much worse day than you are at that stage. Ooh, we have more of the Murakumo and friends, but this build is actually playing Rizal cards. I think this is the first time in a while that I have seen somebody dusting off the idea of playing Rizal, because I mean, everybody's thought after this last list was, oh, this deck is just abysmally gone. You know, we're not going to be getting much of this. But I also do see we're playing Metaltronius down here. So you ever want to feel bad, you know, Metaltronius into a snatch, you laugh at your opponent and they go, oh, you know, that's pretty good. Being able to bump their Snatchy off the field when they chain the effect is pretty good, but, you know, you're going to have to, you know, make sure that you do it at the proper time or you're going to have a bad time. We've also got, because we are main decking the triple thrust, I do see we have the dimensional barriers present here as well. We also have 777 Tachyon, because revealing the Masquerade and going down full combo line is very, very solid. Ooh, we've also got Malice for you. You know, for everybody that told me, you know, this deck is dead, you know, Malice is never going to get the chance to do anything again, I am kind of impressed, actually. Malice has been putting up a pretty good show for people. Still on the 1/1 line of traps, which I think is fine. His build is also choosing to play a single copy of Nibiru. You're not playing Cross out in here, so I guess that this comes up in a scenario of, you know, your opponent doesn't really expect that you're going to have this. And I can kind of get behind that, you know. The surprise element of catching your opponent off guard is good. We're also side decking the shifter. We see the Gamma and the 2 Deltas. Delta definitely showed up this weekend as one of the best power cards that we've kind of been missing. And, you know, shutting your opponent's Mitsurugi stuff off is pretty good. And then our last deck here is some more Draco Tail. Honestly, just talk about a nice consistent deck. You know, this build actually is playing the Frixel. So many builds of this have, you know, strayed away from choosing to play this piece. It is a free revive, and it itself is able to, you know, set additional pieces. So I do think that there is something to this card. You know, we don't really give it enough credit, but, you know, it does act as another one-of. I do see we are also playing the Draco Tail Sting down here. You've got kind of all of your bits and pieces running in this deck, and I think that's really, really nice. So what do you guys think about everything? Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here in a day, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.